surveillance, suppression, and the illusion of freedom, a reflection of July 4th. Now, I know I usually post provocative nonsense, and I'm not very bright to some of you, but I want you to think about this perhaps today. As many Americans fire up grills and gather under red, white, and blue this Independence Day, it's worth asking, how free are we? Really? Beneath the patriotic pageantry and booming fireworks lies a quiet but steady erosion of the very liberties we claim to celebrate. A closer look at the recent legislation, particularly the One Beautiful Bill, it's a beautiful bill, Act, and the Reforming Intelligence and Securing America Act, reveals an alarming expansion of the surveillance state with little regard for constitutional rights. Now, I have done previous videos that talk about the difference of surveillance that's literally happening in real time in our society based on the technology that now exists. And I know many of you are lamenting over this big, beautiful bill. It's the most beautiful bill ever. And the immense amount of money that will be added to our national deficit, or the tax breaks for the wealthiest among us, and most importantly, the stripping away of the safeguards for the least among us. But there is so much more to this monstrosity that is often overlooked in this bill, and I just want to highlight a couple items. Now, we know it's passed here now, July of 2025. The OBBBA is a sweeping legislative package that cloaks its authoritarian reach in populist rhetoric, and Trump ran on populist rhetoric. Amongst its most dangerous provisions is the 10-year federal ban on state-level AI regulation. This moratorium prevents states from enacting protections against facial recognition misuse, algorithmic policing, or corporate surveillance. So even if you elect a governor who doesn't believe in it, they're not able to override this. So states' rights for all of you conservatives doesn't matter in this case. Effectively, it hands unchecked power to federal agencies and big tech, who are now free to deploy invasive technologies without any local accountability. Celebrating liberty while restricting the ability of states to safeguard their residents' privacy is a bitter irony, especially for those who claim limited government is what you espouse. This beautiful bill, the OBBBA, also directs billions to border surveillance, drone warfare, and domestic sensor networks, further integrating military-grade monitoring systems into everyday life. With reduced judicial oversight, courts are stripped of their ability to halt abuses, thus the point of stripping away the power of the judicial. The result? A surveillance regime increasingly capable of monitoring protests, tracking travel, and labeling dissent as extremism, all without a warrant or due process. Meanwhile, the RISAA Act, which again is the Reforming Intelligence and Securing America Act, authorized in 2024 with bipartisan support, so Democrats and Republicans and independents, but shaped heavily by Trump-aligned Republicans, extended Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which we know as FISA. This law allows warrantless collection of Americans' communications if they are incidentally captured during foreign surveillance. Amendments that would have required warrants for U.S. purse inquiries were deliberately voted down. The bill even broadened the scope of covered providers, meaning more American companies and even individuals can now be compelled to assist government surveillance without transparency or recourse. And if that weren't enough, these bills also curtail legal challenges. The big, beautiful bill. Restriction on federal courts issuing injunctions without expensive bonds makes it harder for ordinary citizens to push back. This is not freedom. It is rule by bureaucracy and secret authority. This 4th of July, we must confront the painful truth. While we wave flags in symbolic freedom, our government is hard at work building a digital cage. The right to privacy, enshrined implicitly in the Fourth Amendment, is evaporating. The freedom to speak, organize, and dissent is being quietly monitored and mapped by artificial intelligence, drones, and fusion centers. True freedom isn't about fireworks or national anthems. It's about limits on government power, protection of individual rights, and accountability to the people, we the people. As new laws enable unchecked data collection and surveillance, we inch closer to the very tyranny our founders warned against. So as we celebrate Independence Day, let's remember that freedom requires vigilance. The greatest threat to liberty today isn't a foreign power. It's the normalization of surveillance disguised as security and the legislation that makes it law. Now, a side note is for those who don't believe that dictatorship can exist alongside freedom, I will take you back to the beginning of America. There were millions of people living under dictatorship while others celebrated freedom. I've said this once and I'll say it again. What you allowed to happen to the least of us will eventually happen to the rest of us. America! Come quickly, Lord, perhaps today.